Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel, Browns Lifers, where we don't just cheer, it's a way of life. That's what we do, baby. So let's just jump right into it. You all know that the new league year legal tampering period started Monday, and the Browns have been somewhat active so far. During these last couple of days, we've re-signed a couple of our own. We've signed some free agents to bring in, and of course we've lost some free agents. So let's just dive right on into it. First and foremost, we re-signed Za'Darius Smith, Maurice Hurst, Michael Dunn, and Shelby Harris. I think that the re-signing of Za'Darius Smith was a good thing for us. He was very productive for us last year with the win rate. So hopefully this year the production will be in actual sack numbers and tackle for loss numbers. The win rate is good, but I like to see our ends get the quarterback to the ground. And so hopefully this year that's what exactly he will do. As far as Maurice Hurst, it's a good player to bring back. He did get injured last year, and throughout his career, he does have injury problems. The best ability is availability. But when he has been available, he's been pretty productive. And so hopefully this year, the injury bug won't bite him and he'll be able to play a whole 17-game season, and his production will show in those 17 games. As far as Michael Dunn goes, he's a versatile offensive lineman. As you known him to move around the offensive line a lot, and as you've also known, we've dealt with our fair share of injuries along the offensive line. So bringing him back, familiar with the system, he's been productive when he's played, and so that's a good re-signing as well. And the last one is Shelby Harris so far. Shelby Harris was another one of those defensive tackles that was productive while he was on the field. Of course, he has to stay on the field, and I think that the longer he stays on the field, or the more he stays on the field, the more his production will go forward. The biggest one so far to me was Za'Darius Smith. He's shown to be a leader. I think the guys in the locker room like him, and I also think that to an extent, he pushed Myles Garrett, and he motivated him as well. It's good to have a running mate with our Defensive Player of the Year, Myles Garrett. And so hopefully those two being back together this year, that continuity will be good for them, and that they both will be more productive in this scheme next year. So we'll see how it all folds out. Of course, we've lost some players. We lost Sione Takitaki to the New England Patriots, Awalk to the Miami Dolphins, and today Jordan Elliott to the 49ers. The biggest loss, in my opinion, was Sione Takitaki. I felt like through the course of his career, from the day he got drafted to today that he left, I thought that he steadily showed improvement. I thought that last year was a breakout year for him. I thought that he played pretty good, and to see him leave as his career started to get better is kind of bittersweet. I wish him well in New England, which ironically he takes over for Mack Wilson, who signed elsewhere at Arizona. I think that the loss of Awalk will hurt more so, not necessarily on the field, but his leadership. I thought he did pretty good on the field. I thought when he did not play, they did miss him. But the last couple years, he's been hurt. So I think that, the best ability is availability again. And I think that, him going on to Miami won't hurt us on the field as much as it would in his leadership. And I hope him well, and I hope that he finishes his career in Miami, his hometown. And nothing but the best for Sione and Awalker. But the linebacker room has to be addressed because we lost two of our starters. So we'll see what Andrew Berry does to address those situations in the future. Also, we lost Jordan Elliott, as I said. I thought Jordan Elliott played a good year last year. His best year. I thought he came along pretty well. And so I think that his productivity will be able to be replaced. We'll see. We can't keep everybody though, so I wish him well as well, and we'll see what the Browns do to fill that void. We've also signed players: Jordan Hicks, Nyheim Hines, and Hakeem Adeniji. Adeniji is an offensive tackle. We always could use offensive tackle depth, and I think that was a pretty good signing there. As far as Nyheim Hines goes, I think he's going to primarily be our kick return specialist. He was pretty good in Buffalo, and I think that that's one of the reasons why the Browns went and got him. I think that was a straight Bubba Bentrone wish list type of player, more so than a running back, although he can fill in and he's a versatile back with some speed and elusiveness, and can make some big plays as he's done in special teams. So I think that was a pretty solid signing. And then Jordan Hicks, as I mentioned before, losing Sione Takitaki and A. Walker, he's a body to fill in, and I think he's in the mode of A. Walker. He's an older player, and I think that he's experienced, and he covers tight ends pretty good. And the Browns have had a history of not being able to cover tight ends, and so being in this division, I think that was a big move for us to be able to draft a linebacker that can to be able to sign a linebacker that can cover. So we'll see how it plays out. All of it doesn't matter until they actually hit the field, but I think that those are some pretty solid signings. Nothing to jump overboard about, but solid. So we'll see what they bring to us this year. Also, the biggest news is the Browns signing Jameis Winston over Joe Flacco. It tore social media apart. How could the Browns not re-sign Joe Flacco and instead sign Jameis Winston? To me, it's like the Spider-Man meme. They're the same players. Jameis is just younger. I know what you're thinking. Jameis hasn't done anything. Joe Flacco came in and won some games for us. But Joe Flacco was also a person that turned the ball over a lot. And that ultimately is a big part of why we did not advance in the playoffs. He just threw those 2 pick sixes that took a 10-point deficit and turned it into a 24 deficit, and that essentially ended our season. I know the defense played their part too, but we can't dismiss the fact that Joe Flacco turned the ball over in pretty much every game that he played, and then he ultimately cost us 14 points on 2 pick sixes. So I'm not terribly upset that Joe Flacco's not here, and I'm not terribly excited that Jameis Winston is here. Ultimately, our season will depend upon the health of 4. If 4 can't stay on the field, I don't care if it's Jameis or Joe, our season will not end in the victory in the Super Bowl. We can't depend on neither one of those quarterbacks, those backup quarterbacks, to win us a Super Bowl. So with that being said, I don't think that the backup quarterback wars that's going on social media right now is much to do about anything, because ultimately it's not on the backup quarterback, it's on 4. As we go, as 4 goes. So let's hope that the offensive line can keep him upright and that he will stay healthy this year. Moving on to our division, boy, do I hate the AFC North. We have a very tough division, and it will not be any easier next year. Good news out of Cincinnati is there seems to be some turmoil with T. Higgins. You know he got franchise tag. You know he didn't like it, and you know he requested a trade. However, I will pump your brakes because I really believe that the Cincinnati Bengals will make him play out under that franchise tag this year, and then maybe next year allow him to go or trade him. I don't think that they will honor his trade this year, so we'll have to contend with him at least one more year. Disgruntled, maybe holding out in camp, maybe holding out some preseason, but when he starts getting doc money, he'll show up and he'll play and he'll be productive. We just have to deal with it. Although we got a very good record versus the Cincinnati Bengals. And also, them losing Joe Mixon, good riddance, get him out of the division. We don't have to worry about him for 2 games this year. I don't think the Cincinnati improved very much. I think that they're treading water, and it ultimately boils down to them having a healthy Joe Burrow. Their season goes just like anyone else's in the NFL. A healthy franchise quarterback stays healthy, you got a shot. If he doesn't stay healthy, it's on to the next team that has a healthy franchise starting quarterback. The Pittsburgh Steelers. Russell Wilson decided he wanted to go there. I know he struggled the last couple years in Denver. Maybe Father Time has caught up with him, maybe not. But I don't like the signing of Russell Wilson to Pittsburgh. Couple his experience with Mike Tomlin, and the chances of them being better is greater with Russell than Kenny Pickett. So we'll have to deal with that. I don't think that they will demand as much out of him as maybe they did in Denver. I think they're going to lean on their running game with Arthur Smith and then run play action off of that. So they'll be a little bit better. I do like the fact that they decided to trade Deontay Johnson out of the division, so we don't have to worry about dealing with him. But I don't like the fact that they signed Patrick Queen. Patrick Queen was a nemesis to us in Baltimore, and now he just moved over to the next rival to be another nemesis to us. So we'll have to deal with that, but oh well, the division is tough. Speaking of tough, Derrick Henry to the Baltimore Ravens. Don't like that. But the Browns have done well versus Derrick Henry, but Derrick Henry has never faced the Browns with Lamar Jackson. That combination is scary, but we're going to have to deal with it. In order to be the best, you got to beat the best, and they got better. Maybe they will have to make some tough decisions on the defensive side of the ball and rely more so on the offense. But we'll see. I think that combination is going to be tough. The run pass option with them two is going to be tough. I think that the Browns will have to get bigger on the defensive line and also bigger at the linebacker, because those games are going to be some knockdown, drag 'em. They're going to try to punch you in the mouth and make you blink. And so therefore, I think we got to have people that's going to be willing to punch back and not blink. So we'll see how it goes. Other than that, the league year officially starts Wednesday, and I will keep my eye on teams that will have to do some salary dumps to get under the salary cap. With that being said, look for the San Diego Chargers to possibly get rid of some defensive players, Khalil Mack, which I would be very interested in the Browns picking up if they do indeed cut him. They say the Bosa may go, but I doubt seriously that they get rid of him. I'd be very surprised. But if they do, if I was Andrew Berry, I'd jump all over that as well. So we'll see what the future holds. I think that so far, this signing period has been okay. Yeah, we missed out on some big names, but we don't know exactly what happened. We don't know how much money the Browns offer. We don't know how much money that the players that we wish they would have gotten demanded from the Browns. All we know is that those players went elsewhere. Again, this is not Madden, and there is a salary cap, and there's consequences to signing huge contracts. And so I know that we may not have gotten the big names, but at the same time, I can understand why we hadn't got the big names. So let's see what Andrew Berry has up his sleeves, and don't forget the draft, because I think that we can have success with picking a running back in the draft, as well as possibly another wide receiver. We'll see. And I think that you can't look past the fact that Andrew Berry has traded the second round pick the last couple of years. So maybe he has a trick or two up his sleeves in the trade market. So we'll see. Just hold tight and wait for the conclusion of the draft and the rest of this summer to see what kind of team that the Browns field in this coming season. With that being said, I hope you like this video. If you do, give me a thumbs up and also give me a follow, because I will be dropping more videos about our beloved Browns, and I hope that you'll be along for the journey, because it's nothing but love. Until we meet again, go Browns.